Hi and good evening and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and as I said, folks, it is myself. I do apologise. Tonight was supposed to be a guest episode for you all to enjoy. Michael Midge-Gardine was supposed to be joining me, but I do apologise on behalf of Michael. There has been a very quick change in circumstances for Michael from Michael's side. So he does send his apologies. But he reassures me, folks, that he will be joining the podcast next Wednesday night at 8:30. So we do apologise, but I'm afraid you are stuck with me. Aren't yous lucky, as they say? Well, folks, I hope yous have all been well. I hope you're all keeping good in this kind of mixed bag of weather that we're all having at the moment. Hope everyone's managing to keep warm and still in this kind of minus temperatures and freezing cold winds, and we nearly lost a trampoline. Like that was a show, guys. I'll tell you that right now. Me and my missus try to tie up a massive trampoline onto a shed. Fun and games, folks. But listen, I thought it was more important for me to come on here and have a wee chat with you about Celtic's transfer model, and obviously to ask maybe some of you guys and get your thoughts on whether you think it's a success. I think it's a success, and obviously I'll give you the reasons for that. But if anyone watching us at all can let us know in the comments how you feel in regards to Celtic's transfer model, the way Celtic do things, the way Celtic are, and yeah, let us know what you think and get your comments in. Or any questions or anything that you might have, you can fire them over. Couple of wee comments coming in. And Jem, first up, evening JP, evening Ange, hope you're well. Who's this next joining us again? He says, evening JP, hail, hail, good evening mate, hope you're well. Scott Melville, hail, hail JP, hail, hail Scott, hope you're well buddy. Plunge, JP my man, hail, hail, good evening Plunge, hope you're well too. And Be Fast JD says, good evening, people. Get announcing them signing Celtic. We'll touch on that also as we go. Laura Campbell joining us on Facebook. Good evening, Laura. If anybody wondering who Laura is one of the admins on a fantastic page. It's on Facebook, folks. So if anybody wants some decent Celtic pictures or any bits of banter or anything, a wee laugh and a joke, head over to the This Is Paradise page on Facebook, run by a guy Dylan, but Laura's also one of the admins on there. So give it a bash, guys. If you're on Facebook, head over, follow the page, and yeah, as I said, it's quite a fun page, and they're an easygoing bunch. So yeah, hail, hail, Laura. Hope you're well. John Clifford, evening, JP. Good evening, John. Hope you're well, mate. I hope your holiday's going good. Hope he's only too sunburnt. And hi, hope you're good. Kaiser, your legend, flying solo tonight. Yes, Kaiser. I don't know if you missed the beginning, mate. I was supposed to be doing a guest podcast tonight for you with Midge Gardine, Michael Gardine. So Michael's had a sudden change of circumstances. Nothing too serious, but um, enough to having enough to have made him reschedule tonight. So Midge has rescheduled with us for next Wednesday at 8:30. So yeah, he'll be on with us then. So folks, Celtic's transfer model. Um, what do I think about Celtic's transfer model? Well, I mean, I think I've spoken enough on here about it. I think we've had chats when Alan's on and Ryan's on, and I think as Celtic fans, season McCulders, shareholders, you name it. I think at this stage of every transfer window, we all want you know, we all want our fix, as we call it, and the fix is Celtic signing people. But what I want to say, guys, is I think Celtic have had enough just signing people to appease us as fans. In my opinion, I think Celtic have had enough. Just going out and bringing in guys for the sake of just bringing numbers in and making it look nice. Giving them a photo shoot and stuff like that. Because there've been a lot of signings that have not worked out, but we have been very successful with signings. And that model, in my opinion, the the way the player trading model that Celtic operate from, I think it's it's unbelievable. I mean, you just do not. The amount of money Celtic have made is not basically just being in the Champions League. The funds that Celtic have got sitting in their bank, and probably more now. Probably more, as we say, probably more now. Due to this season's Champions League and obviously Jota's sale and stuff like that's to be added to the accounts that were published just a short time ago. But I feel that you know it, it's to say it's not a success would be well wide of the mark for me. I really do. I think you look at you go back to Van Dijk, Aiden McGeady. 10 million quid over to Spartak Moscow. That was unheard of me back then. You know, a guy that came through our youth academy, and we sold him on for 10 million quid. For me, that's phenomenal. It's phenomenal business. And yeah, as I say, it's that kind of spearheaded this new kind of format, the way they do it. You look at Virgil van Dijk, it was like 12 million quid. He went to Southampton. Now we only paid 2.5 million quid for Big Virgil. We brought him in, we developed him, and we moved him on for a big profit. You look at Victor Wanyama, he was the same. I mean, we brought him in for pennies. That was like 800,000 we brought him in for. And we sold him on for millions. So, it's just on the basis of two players, right away, the club's doing something right. What a way to run a business. Listen, folks, I think the be all and end all of it is we ain't going to be able to attract quality players and keep them, like Virgil van Dijk. When we develop these guys and they come and play, we won't be able to keep these guys longer term because eventually these guys will outgrow the model and outgrow what we can offer. I've said it on here as well, folks. We've got guys, they don't want to come here and play. No disrespect. I don't want to disrespect anyone sitting here tonight, just now. But these guys don't want to come here and play at Dingwall or, the surface at Rugby Park or the surface at Tony Macaroni Stadium. And that's the be all and end all. It's hard for Celtic to, you know, to bring experience quality like that. Guys are the ilk of Paredes. Boys that they're probably not even the first picks for their teams. But even guys like that we would struggle to bring because of I know Ryan and I have spoke on here. They've mentioned about we need to ask a question. Celtic probably do ask a question. But again, for those reasons of the playing surfaces, the certain facilities, it's just not there, folks. It's no for me. It's just not going to cut the mustard. And yeah, we'll lose. We'll lose more than what we gain. Leo Porter, good evening, mate. I hope you're well, Leo. Not seen you for a wee while, mate. Hope you had a nice Christmas and New Year. I'm good, mate. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm all right. Just plodding on, mate. You've got to do it in this day and age now. But yeah, looking forward to a nice wee weekend coming up. That'll be good for me and Ryan. I don't know if you're aware, Leo, but we're going down to Sheffield. We're going to visit Barry Bannon at the weekend, so look forward to that. It'll be a good weekend. So that's just round the corner for us. So yeah, all good in the hood, mate. Hope you're well. Um, John says, I wish our model was promoting from the youths reserves, but it's not happening enough. Yeah, John, I think it's well documented, mate, on here that from doing away with the reserve league, mate, it's really hindered that process, in my opinion, probably in the lads' opinion as well. I don't want to speak for Ryan and Alan, but I'm probably no far wider than Mark there, knowing the two lads really well and their kind of thoughts on that as well. But I think doing away with the reserve league's probably hindered that, mate. So you're probably right, and it is a big miss because you're seeing it like, say, obviously Rocco Vata. He potentially could have had his head turned to make a move this month, but he's decided to, you know, listening to his dad the other day in a small snippet. He's decided to maybe stay, and I don't know, again, playing it, I know, again, people are going to say that, the level of opposition. I've always said it doesn't matter who you're playing, folks. You can only beat what's put in front of you. And Celtic went out and they done the job professionally on Sunday. And he got his first goal for the first team, John. So, again, mate, that'll probably do him a world of good. All you got to do is look at Paulo Bernardo. Paulo Bernardo he was doing okay. I don't think he did anything spectacular up until he scored against Dundee. And from then, mate, he's just kicked on and he looks a totally different guy now. He looks like, I don't know, what's been getting put in his breakfast now, but it's given him massive, massive amounts of energy and massive, massive amounts of confidence. So scoring goals, even as a young lad at 18, Rocco Vata, could do wonders for his confidence, mate. So who knows, mate? That might bring a different player out his shell. And moving on, mate, we might have a player on my hands. Kenny McCardle, best podcast in town, hail, hail. Thank you very much, Kenny. Thank you very much. And appreciate that, I really do. And a massive farewell to you and your family, mate. Jeff Ray, hi guys, hail, hail. Good evening, Jeff. Hope you're well too, pal. I really do. Yeah, my good man following me tonight. Probably thinks I need the company. Just glad he's not on because it means I got a word done now. Fans need to now prepare for O'Reilly leaving in the summer. Enjoy him while he's here. He's a top player. For anybody knows, Ryan's good pals with Mendes, who was Ronaldo's agent for a while, and I think he's part of Jota's team as well. So that's Ryan giving you good authority there that Matt O'Reilly's definitely leaving. And Ryan was up at Alder today getting stocked up in the bleach as well. So I think he's downloaded the boy George, the crying game. He's going to listen to that a few times after Matt O'Reilly departs in the summer, according to Ryan here. But we'll need to wait and see. But yeah, you're definitely spot on, Ryan, in terms of he is a top player. And yeah, he's he's definitely not leaving just now. That's for sure. That doesn't make any possible, it doesn't bring any sense to a business that we are running at all to let him go just now. People are saying, Bernardo might be his replacement and stuff. It could be. Fair enough. But you're still going to be light in the squad. I still think you would need at least one more to come in and add to that. I might be wrong, but that's just my opinion. But we'll need to wait and see. But O'Reilly is a top player. He is. Yeah, Jeff, there's another great example. Remember our first 1 million transfer, Jackie McNamara for Dunfermline. And I think Jackie was very similar to Callum McGregor in that he could play about 900 games a year. Up to a certain point in his career, and then he started getting niggling injuries and stuff. But he was very reliable, Jackie. That's another one. It was a big success. But I think for me, Jeff, I think slightly, and just as John mentioned there, I think we, Scottish football's changed in that way back then we had the reserve league, mate. We've not got that now, and I think that hinders boys that you know that maybe aren't playing a lot of football. And I think now when you look at Celtic and then you look down the league, sorry, not the leagues as in the rest of the divisions, down the league in Scotland, um, there's no money you would say in terms of players and stuff that Celtic could probably go and buy who would make a massive difference to our first 11 or even the squad. I don't think there's many players at all. I'm all for trying to bring young players in and try to improve the squad that way. Probably the one the one I do like is the lad at Aberdeen, Connor Barron. I think he's a very talented lad, and I do think he'll leave Aberdeen. I don't know what he's going to do, but I do predict he'll leave Aberdeen and he'll move on to something a bit better or a different type of challenge for him. Because he'll want to challenge himself at a wee bit of a higher level than Aberdeen. And sometimes when you sign these lads, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Sometimes it might not work for you, and other times you might not expect much from him, and he comes in and he's an absolute belter. So yeah, I do think that. But overall, Jeff, I don't think there's players in Scotland, mate, that you would go to sign, because if you do, you know, it's it's um it's a massive gamble, mate, because then you're bringing in players who might not they might not do it, mate. They might freeze and they might get caught like a rabbit in the headlights. So I think that's a wee bit of a tricky one nowadays. Back in the day, you could probably go to like Dunfermline and bring in somebody like Jackie McNamara, or somebody that ilk, and they're coming in and they'll do well. But nowadays, mate, I don't think there's many players. I think again we spoke about uh, you know, spoke about that long enough on here. But again, that I don't want to disrespect the game and I don't want to disrespect the other teams, but it's just a level. You look away back then, mate. Celtic and Rangers were very successful in terms of what they were doing, and they were battling, and then the Martin O'Neill came in. That's when Celtic's fortunes totally changed, and they probably since then they've probably dominated Scottish football, give or take 1 or 2 years. So yeah, I think. But nowadays, mate, the rest of the teams have all changed. The rest of the teams don't have that unfortunate level of quality that can come in and really make a difference for likes of Celtic, who are obviously aspiring now to be a regular team in the Champions League. Um, Thomas Burns, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. He says our transfer model works domestically. Our success proves this. We need to invest more in the team if we want to be better in Europe. I think again, Thomas. I think personally, mate. I think that's a tricky one because again, mate. I think there's a wee element of you need to watch what you're doing, because I don't think it matters the amount of money you go and spend. Personally, I think it's to do with recruitment. You know, Jota, and again for me, Jota wasn't a ready-made player when we signed him. He was still a young, although he had a lot of experience. He played at Valladolid, and you know, and obviously came through the Benfica academy. He did appear to be a very good player, even in his loan year. But we paid £6 million for Cameron Carter-Vickers, and 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 the reality of it is, yeah, we've played some really good stuff in the Champions League the last 2 years, but we've had one win, you know, with him as part of the squad. And there's been games where we get lettered, even with him in the team. So again, mate, I don't think it matters the amount of money you go and spend. I think it's got to matter in terms of the recruitment, in terms of the way it's the attributes of the individual, what they're going to bring to the team. First and foremost, you need to have massive cojones on you to represent Celtic. Celtic's not just you not got a baby coming in and coasting. You not got a baby coming in and not giving your all every day. And that's a mindset. You've heard Callum McGregor, Scott Brown, guys like that out talking about that, Thomas. That's a mindset, mate, that not a lot of people can carry. Larson spoke about it. Alan Thompson spoke to us about it on this. You know, Chris Sutton, John Hartson. These guys have all spoke about this. These guys have all, Neil Lennon as well. You need to have a big set of balls on you to come in and represent Celtic. Because you're not just people, us as fans probably don't see, we're not privy to see what goes on behind the scenes. You need to live your life now in a way as well that, you're doing things right off the pitch. And yeah, I think there's more to it than just what meets the eye in terms of, signing for Celtic. Celtic can't just go and sign any player because that's not what it's all about. When you sign a player nowadays, folks, you're not just signing him, you're signing an entourage with him. You're also signing him as a brand. That's what players are now. Transfers don't just take a day or two to accomplish, they take weeks. There's lots of negotiations, there's lawyers, there's this, there's that, did they get two sugars in his tea? Did they get and by the way, I know folks might have a wee smile on their face there saying that, but honestly, that it's fine details. It really, really is. It's that could be the difference of modern football transfers. It's crazy, but that is the reality of it. And yeah, Thomas, I think it's a tricky one, mate. I think sometimes you need to be careful. You can't just go and chuck money. People want us to go and spend lots of money to try and do better in Europe. You're spending lots of money, it doesn't guarantee you to do better in Europe. What will help this team, and I've said it before, is the fact that we've been in it the last 2 years now, and now we've managed to break our duck in terms of not winning in there for 10 years. I know people are going to decry that. I've seen Celtic fans decrying that and saying, it was a dead rubber game. And for me, that's just absolute nonsense and so far-fetched. Honestly, that's Steven Spielberg probably couldn't come up with that as a plot for any of these movies. But it's that far-fetched. It's wild to say that it's a dead rubber. Celtic don't play dead rubbers. Even if it's friendlies, Celtic do not play dead rubber football games. It's wild to say that. There was two teams on that pitch. Feyenoord wanted to beat us. They tried. Celtic turned up, and on the night we were better than them, and that's why we won the game. And yeah, as I said, it's so sometimes I think you need to be careful there, because you spend lots of money, it doesn't guarantee you anything. You look at Chelsea, look at Man U. Man U have spent 400 million quid for he took over, and to me, he's just Pedro Caixinha with a Dutch accent. That's who he puts me in mind of. And yeah, as I say, it's crazy. Gary Neville spoke about it on the overlap. It's it's all right playing for Ajax. Man U, in terms of stature, Man U are massive, massive. And again, comes down to when I says you need big balls to play for Celtic. You need big balls to play with clubs like this. It's not just about you coming in as a footballer. You need to live your life in a certain way, and you need to do it in a certain way to be successful. Callum McGregor, Scott Brown's recently told us, you know, you've got to represent the club and himself in a totally different way for all your mates. All your mates going out partying and all that. McGregor doesn't. He goes to his bed. He turns his phone off, goes to his bed at 9:30 every night. Guy's dedicated, and that's what it takes. That's a different level, and that's why Brendan after the derby recently had says that, it's a different world. McGregor's a totally different level for everybody else in the team. And that's why, because of the dedication. So when you go and sign a guy, it doesn't guarantee, that he's going to have that. You look at Bernaby, he's getting caught doing silly things and things he shouldn't be doing and picking his nose around way and silliness, And you've got the other guys like McGregor and Joe Hart, and you've got to be dedicated. You've got to live your life in a totally different way from probably a lot of your mates and a lot of your family and a lot of your friends. So you probably become a big enemy in your families. due to you know, due to you know, back at school in the day when I was there, you get called a square for that behaviour. But nowadays it's a norm because that's you know it's yeah it's the norm and that's the modern day pro or the that's the prime example of a modern day pro. A lot of like I say, a lot of guys just like to go and get their wages and coast, drift through training, go home. That's it. Go to training, go home. Go to training, go home. Don't think of the implications of what they're doing when they're no there, if they're going to the pubs or they're doing this or doing that. It catches up with you. You can't play the amount of games Celtic play and expect to live your life going to the boozer and going out for curries and stuff like that. It just doesn't work. Look at Alfredo Morelos. The club he's just signed for. Now he left them up across the water and he's went to a team in Brazil and they get rid of him because of his attitude. And he's went to this new club and I read a transcript yesterday, in fact, folks, and their manager's turning and says that he's not going to play him until he's fit. I mean, that is just ridiculous. That just shows you where we are. I don't know if any of you have had the chance to have a look at the Galatasaray's recent footage, but go and have a look at the you know go and have a look at the photos of Ndombele, the recent photos of him and the shape he's in. Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. So again, guys, you need to put more in, and it's not about how much money you go and spend on an individual, because you could spend millions of pounds, but like I says, folks, guarantees nothing, nothing at all. And only a week to go. They need to get their finger out. I'm assuming you're talking about the Celtic hierarchy. Why? Why do they need to get their finger out though? I'm intrigued to know your thoughts here, Ange. Why do they need to get their finger out? Bearing in mind they've brought in a signing and they paid £3 million for him. Like I says, I've said this before. We do not need major surgery to the squad. We don't. And anybody that says Celtic need multiple signings right now, they're not thinking about you know, you're, you're not thinking about it logically. You look at the squad and look at what we've got now. Now, all this media trash, as I call it, Abada's leaving. Matt O'Reilly wants away. Matt O'Reilly's doing this. Abada's doing this. Before that, it was Ange leaving. It was all the Japanese boys were leaving. This, that, and that. Every one of them have all signed new contracts. Every single one of them have all signed new deals. Now, every one of them have not signed new contracts on the basis that they just want to earn Celtic a few quid. That's not what they've done that for. And anybody that thinks that's the only reason, then you're nuts, in my opinion. They've signed new contracts for the club because they love playing for the club. That's it. There's nothing, people like to make more of a situation and what it is and this and that. And they've signed with Celtic because they want to be here. They see how successful they are. They see the fan base they're playing for. They see, the admiration that the fans have, the relationship they've got with the fans, the ground, the pitch after the games, clapping fans. Even if they lose, fans still staying, you know, Champions League fans were staying there and clapping them off the pitch. Because you could see what, the night we drew with Atletico Madrid, I mean, that felt like a defeat for us because of the way we played. The same with Lazio, when we lost the game 2-1. Fans stayed at the end of the game and applauded the team off the pitch. Why? Because they can see what the team's doing. They can see the reason why, the hard work is there. I mean, people saying, oh, we can't compete. Well, listen, we beat a top team for Holland. And in spells of that game, we played them off the pitch. We drew 2 each with Atletico Madrid. Yeah, we get battered over there. But there was major circumstances in that game why, you know, that we just fell apart. And a big help hand to that was it going down to 10 men. So, but this whole, the Celtic board need to do this and the Celtic board need to do that. I'll tell you what, I guarantee right now, and I'll be willing to put my hat on this one, that the Celtic board's probably one of the hardest working boards in British football. There you go. I guarantee you. Why? Because of what we're on here tonight talking about. The model, the way we work. Now, January is probably one of the hardest windows to do anything. Now, at the beginning of the window, I had conversations with Celtic fans that I know, guys I played football with, guys I went to school with, and they actually thought that Celtic would only bring in loan deals to do us to the end of the season. Now, we still might, but we spent £3 million, and Celtic fans seem to forget that Nicholas Kuhn is in the door, he's in the building now, and he's probably going to make his debut for us on Saturday against Ross County. So this need, again, it's just your fix. It's just a fix. It's this need, and we need to do this. Why? What other team? Tell me what other team right now has went mental in the transfer window. And Davy Martin, how you doing, mate? Tell me one team and across Europe even that's went mental with transfers this window. If any Celtic fan right now thought that Celtic were going to bring 3 or 4 players in, then you need a visit to your GP pronto. It's as simple as that. Because that was never going to happen. Look at the team. Look at the squad. Look at the positions of the team. Look who we've got in the team. So goalkeepers. I mean, the goalkeeper that needs addressed, okay. But the goalkeeper that we have in between the sticks, Joe Hart, the guy's been a total legend for Celtic. The way he's handled himself, the character of the man, the way he's come in and dealt with pressure, and he's made mistakes, but so's everybody. He's not the only one to make mistakes. Cal McGregor makes mistakes. I've just said he's probably light years above everybody else in the team. And Brendan quoted him as being in a different world after the derby. So Larson made mistakes as well. That happens. It's only natural. These guys are human at the end of the day. But what differs them to others, and this is why, like John and that saying they're still winning the league, and I think that's the key. Mentality. It's the mental strength that they have, that when it comes to this stage of the season, which I call the business end of the season, they step up a gear. You've seen Man City do it last year. They went in a crazy run of games. And that's what good teams do. That's why these teams are champions. That's why they have this desire and hunger and will to win. And that's why they succeed. Because of the way they work. And they work differently for other teams. Teams can have bits of form and go through this and go through this wee spell and go through that wee spell. And it dips. And there is a reason why that is. It comes down to mental strength, mentality. You look at the amount of games that Celtic play. Let's say it's phenomenal the amount of games that Celtic play. The calendar for Celtic is frightening. I've seen a Celtic board the last couple of days actually, taking an absolute battering, and I don't understand why they're taking a battering. People think because we don't do a deal for a player that it's the board's fault. You look at Ivan Toney, for example, right? People are blaming the board, or they were haggling over money. No, that wasn't the case. Ivan Toney sat on a podcast and told the reason why he never signed for Celtic. It's his choice. It's his choice. He seen that Lee Griffiths at the time, a fully fit Lee Griffiths and Odsonne Edward were the kind of two strikers, and he wasn't really up for coming into battle with him. He wasn't up for doing it. So again, the you know, but Celtic fans seem to point fingers, and John McGinn's another one as well. The board took an absolute battering for, and John McGinn was never coming to Celtic, never. Again, he speaks in an interview about it. The deal was already done for him to go to Aston Villa before Celtic even. I mean, I would call it a throwaway gesture. Celtic tried to go and get him, but again, folks, it would have been crazy for Celtic to do that, because Celtic at the time were really strong in that position. No, the guys flying, like Cham, even in Cham was doing well. Rogic, Bruni, McGregor, Ryan Christie, Stuart Armstrong. We had a really, really strong squad back then, folks, in that position. So for me at the time, I don't think John McGinn would have played much football. He was playing more at Hibs at the time. And he didn't, I mean, it took a while for John to settle and, become a mainstay in that Aston Villa team. To do it under a manager in Unai Emery, that's a telling point. Again, that's a boy with a strong mentality. You see it when he plays for Scotland. That heart and desire and will to win. And see that, folks, above anything else in terms of transfer fees and anything at all, you need to have that will to win to be at a club like Celtic. And if you don't have it, then you're setting yourself up for a big fall. So, just because guys come and they don't play, you know, yeah, no, listen, Kwon is a great example. Again, this is part of the transfer model, Ange, just as you mentioned that. I know that you're replying to a previous comment here for Plunge, but you look at how successful, again, this comes down to player trading, the way Celtic do it, the way they develop players. It's elite level. This is how that this is why Celtic are so successful. We had 5 lads on the pitch on Saturday against Bucky Thistle that all came from the same high school. What other team in the UK have got that? None. They were all on the pitch on Sunday, sorry. I keep saying Saturday because I'm used to Celtic playing on a Saturday. Sunday. We had 5 lads in our squad that all fielded the pitch on Sunday at one period of another. And they all came from the same high school. That's phenomenal. You talk about the young lads, all the young lads. Now, whatever people think about the individual of the young lads, all the young lads have came through Celtic's academy. So again, folks, to do that, you need to be at a good level to do that. That's not just gifted to you. You don't just, look at the amount of folks Celtic have let go. We could probably do a podcast just on that alone. The amount of young boys that have not made the grade and they've been moved on. So again, to have that on the pitch on Sunday was phenomenal. And that, that was brought to my attention. I was at the game on Sunday. I had to quickly leave at half time because I was absolutely saturated and never knew. My body was that cold, folks, that I never knew I was wet. I probably shouldn't have done this. I'm probably going to stick myself in, but I took a wander into one of the disabled toilets now for the mirror. And I took my jacket off. I had a big Parker style jacket on, and I took my jacket off. I never realised how wet I was, by the way, till I took my jacket off. I thought, no, I can't do this. I need to get home. So I headed home. And bearing in mind, we were 3-0 up, so the game was done. So, and I was home just in time for the second half kicking off. So I left in plenty of time. But again, it's one of those things. But to see those young boys, the boy Kelly, Vata, Mikey Johnston, Stephen Welsh, and Anthony Ralston all play a part in the game. I know what folk are going to say. It's Bucky Thistle. It doesn't matter who it is. they lads have all came through our, uh, you know, they lads have all came through our academy and had to work really, really hard to do it. Some have been loaned out to other teams and, you know, put out on loan, assessed, brought back, assessed, training hard. Some of them are now getting to train regularly with the first team. And you look at Stephen Welsh, you know, we nearly lost Stephen Welsh 1 or 2 transfer windows ago to Italy when, you know, a couple of teams in the Serie A came calling. One actually bidded £4.5 million for him, and Big Ange at the time said no. So it just goes to show, folks, like, you know, and there's teams in Italy wanting Rocco Vata. So there must be something in these lads that, you know, that from the naked eye from us, we're probably not seeing that. I think Rocco Vata does have the tools to do a bit of damage at Celtic. The way Sean Maloney did, the way McGeady did. But again, he's got to work hard, he's got to dedicate himself to it. And that'll, you know, that'll tell over the next coming year. He's only 18. And again, it's just time. It'll just be time with the lad because his development is, you know, he's nowhere near what he's going to be in the next 2 or 3 years. So, and if he doesn't, like I says, he's going to be one of the players that stays static because you get players like that. I've named 1 or 2 on here, like Gary Mackay-Stevens. You know, had all the raw attributes to come in and be a belter, and he just didn't want to take his game to that next level, like Stuart Armstrong did. You know, a wee bit of coaching, a wee bit of developing, a wee bit of self-management. You could then take your game on a level or two. Some players just, unfortunately, again back to Thomas Burns' point about bringing in big quality and, you know, spending money. So some players just don't want to. They don't want to do the hard yards. It's as simple as that, and that the fire's got to be inside you. That can't be given to you. So I find it very disrespectful when I see a lot of Celtic fans. How's he playing today? That's it's a common one, isn't it? How's he playing today? Why is he playing? I remember a statement for a guy I know, and we we will, you know, we were going to get leveled at Ibrox, and we were going to be embarrassed, and we were going to do this. It was a guy I was at school with, and he texted me that morning, and it was all because Liam Scales was starting the game, and I'm very happy that Liam Scales disappointed him. I was I was first to text after the game to find out how his feelings were then. He's a lot be pleased to know that his phone was turned off. I've not heard from him since. But listen, I think again, folks, it's all to do with, you know, we can get caught up in a lot of and you know, adrenaline kicks in for us before games and even after games when maybe the result doesn't go our way, the whole finger starts pointing to you, and it just snowballs for there. Then it goes on to social media and it goes for there and it goes for there. Then you get people believing it. That's the crazy thing about it all. You get people actually following, you know, following that as gospel. You know, like the day Mattarelli's leaving, Mattarelli's gone to Sky Sports. Now Sky Sports, I don't know if anybody remembers this. Sky Sports a few years ago, good few years ago now, had put on Christmas Day that he was that Moussa Dembele had signed for Brighton. Does anyone remember that? This was Christmas Day, good few years ago. That Moussa Dembele had signed for Brighton. Now I thought to myself, surely that must be accurate. Sky Sports, massive in what to do, the biggest sports broadcaster, or one of them. Surely they've got to be accurate. What happened? Wish I hadn't signed for Brighton. Celtic put a statement out to say it was a load of rubbish. And it happened more or less a day, but it wasn't through Celtic. It was like Matt O'Reilly was going to Atletico. And it was set that he was going there, and that was it. And there was a few sources had come out with us. Then about an hour later, the Sun Sport had put all over Twitter that Celtic had rejected the bid. But the simple post and the video and the audio from Sky created this anxiety among the supporters, and that's what see that, folks. That's what happens, right? That's what happens when people. I don't want to start running people down or anything, but that's what happens when people just think that someone, that somebody puts something on social media, and you get folk going, "Well, that's accurate. That's definitely true. That must be happening." And then they start texting their pals and their family, and you know, it just snowballs. It just goes nuts. Sometimes you just need to have a bit of trust, have a bit of belief, have a bit. I've said that millions of times. We've got an elite manager, folks. Have a bit of belief in him. You know, let him do his job. Let him get us there. You know, up to now he's never steered us wrong in terms of getting us over the line with it. And I don't care if we won the league with a point, folks. I know that would cause Ryan to down bottles of domestics right enough, and the lead up to that. But the the league's the main. That's your main breadwinner. That's your main go-to thing. Otherwise, there's no point. But when you've got a squad with the quality depth that we've got at the moment, you know, you can then start to aspire to, yeah, let's try it. There is 2 cups still available, so you can, you know, put one eye in there, and another eye at the league. We're not in Europe now, so we can start to. You'll probably see Celtic gather momentum now, folks. I would imagine over the next few weeks you'll start to see Celtic build that momentum because again you've not got that European distraction. When that does start back. So I think now you'll see Celtic kicking on and really doing a bit of damage. I'm going to come to some more comments here in a wee moment. Um, let's see what Ryan. Aston Villa had wined and dined McGinn, took him to the stadium and around the city. They gave him 30 grand a week. Celtic will never give that on an SPL player. You're spot on, mate. I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. I'm actually surprised that wee paragraph's just that wee paragraph. Because normally we all know that you love a rant, mate. So I'm surprised that I didn't have to read uh, a right good bit of a chapter of a book here. just just based on that point alone. But no, you're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. It again, Ryan. A lot of people don't really know that, mate. A lot of people, they think again Celtic's board failed and never, and they were haggling over money and they were doing this, and they were doing that, or not doing this and not doing that. So yeah, as I said, it's sometimes it's not all what meets the eye. But again, you're spot on, mate. Your best is that you back the club. Kenny, is that comment directed at myself or just in general, mate? Just is that just a point to the comments itself? But in terms of myself, mate, yeah, I back the club. I back Celtic. I back the team. Um, People are going to have, the Celtic's board's always going to split opinions. I think with our fans. In my opinion, Celtic would, you know, Celtic could do a lot worse than some of the guys that we've got representing us at the moment at the club. I'm only going to say that. We could be in a really worse state and worse off. You know, you've not got to look too far, mate, to see what misrunning your club's all about. And there's more aspects to running Celtic than people just, people just think Celtic have got all this money and that's what they're doing. See, I've got a lot of plans, and a lot of plans come with needing finances to do it with. The COVID's knackered a lot of delayed a lot of that. You talk about the hotel and the museum and things that are in the pipeline for happening. I think there's work still to happen at Celtic Park, the surrounding areas of Celtic Park. Celtic have still to put in a fan zone as well for us fans to go and enjoy ourselves before the game, enjoy live music and stuff on the outside. So all that's still to happen. So, and it does cost money. You know, that's just one of the ones. You just stick a five in a hat, and we have a whip run between you and your mates. It takes money. It takes serious money, and then you also look at all the charity side of stuff that Celtic do. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The sleep out at Celtic Park and stuff like that. Sometimes it's absolutely atrocious weather that these folks have given up their time to go and do it, and it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you look at all the other kind of charity things that they do. Just in Christmas there, they were taking in homeless people and feeding them on Christmas Day and giving them somewhere hot. What other clubs run about that we know of, doing that, or even businesses? We need to start recognising our own people. There's a lot of selfishness in the world. Sometimes giving up your time and going and helping, even if you help one person, if everybody took a leaf out of that book and done that for somebody in their life, I think the world would be a better place, folks. I really do. I seen a wee comment there from Martin. Hold on a minute. Where are we? Says, careful, mate. If you go on Axom, you will be called a happy clapper, and you don't get why anyone would say facts on their podcast. Well, I think it's a bit tricky. As I said, Celtic's a topic, mate. It's always going to split opinions. The Axon boys do a great job as well, man. I mean, especially Paul John Dykes. I mean, you talk about charities and stuff. The amount of stuff that guy does to get things recognised and it's phenomenal on that side of it, mate. So it's up to individuals, mate, the way the way they conduct themselves, and you know, I think that's the beauty of a football debate, because an opinion's an opinion, and for me, an opinion's not up for discussion. An opinion's one person's side of view, so everybody's entitled to say that, no matter what it is. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to agree with that. So there's no golden rule there to say you need to agree with me. I think, Martin, in terms of happy clapper, I always find that quite a funny term to use. Again, mate, people who have got really strong views, maybe against the club or against the board, or certain individuals, regardless of what it is and what topic it is, mate, I think they're maybe always going to find it difficult to see the other side of things. Like, just say for talking sake, if just say I had Alan sitting with me, right, and I'm using Alan as an example because sometimes me and Alan will have a good debate on this, and it's healthy, it's good. Well, you can't always agree. What a boring world it would be if we all just sat here and agreed with each other. That's how. That's why we have democracy. that's that's the beauty of football. It splits opinions, but it's also good and healthy as long as it's done in an appropriate way. People lose their ag, and that's just nuts. For me, that's just nuts. But to be called a happy clapper, listen, I've been called a hell of a lot worse. Just ask Ryan. Um, listen, I'm from the East End of Glasgow. It doesn't things like that don't bother me, mate. People say I'm one of the kind of guy. I no bother. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. I can let things fly over my head and away you go. But what I will say to any individual at all, um, you need to be very careful, especially when you know if you're saying things to people or you're wording things to people. Because, like say, a guy like myself, I can just have a laugh with anybody. You know, I'll just laugh at it and just anybody, whatever. You know, and that's it. But someone who's not as strong as that, someone who is maybe not feeling the best in terms of mental health wise, or you know, in a bad situation, it could have a right bad adverse effect on someone like that. So again, I think sometimes especially football, I think sometimes you need to be mindful with what you're doing, and the way things are. And a lot of you guys on here are brilliant in terms of your views and the way you put things across, and the comments you give us and everything else. And we totally appreciate everything that you bring to us for us, because that's what we're here for. We're here for you. And that's why we do our best and our utmost best to try and put a lot of your comments up, and we'll have a chat about it, we'll have a laugh, we'll have a bit of banter. That's what it's all about. But you know, when when people are deliberately, and we've seen that in quite a lot of the comments as well. I'm not naming anybody here at all, but there's been other people it's just been passing through, and when people are directly mean and just not want to be nice, then sometimes you need to be careful, because that person you're doing that to, it has an effect. You know, whether you don't think that or not, it has an effect. And whether that individual, like I says, if it's not an individual who's as strong minded as I am, it could have a really nasty effect. But if anyone on here wasn't to be nice to me, there'll be consequences and repercussions. Because I've got Ryan in the comments to deal with. I hope he's still in the comments. He's probably fell asleep with me listening to me talking. This is probably the longest I've ever been able to talk on here without him. It's brilliant. I love being on here myself. It's superb. But Joe Curran, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. JP, I was running a football team before you were a twinkle in your mother's eye. So don't think you know more about the game than every other fan. Joe, that's the thing. That's the thing. It just goes back to what I was saying a moment ago, mate. I definitely don't think I know everything about the game. That's for sure. I'm turning 40 in just under a fortnight. So I definitely do not know everything there is to know about the game. Um, what I will say is I love the game. The game's a big part of my life. Only because I do this, and obviously I'm a season book holder at Celtic. So I watch a lot of football. And when Ryan brought me on board onto this podcast, I think he'd lost his mind at the time, but hey ho, I'm here now. But when he brought me on here, Joe, what I thought I could do was I thought I could bring a different sort of point of view and a wee bit of banter along with that as well, mate. So it's not about thinking you know more about one another, because I'll tell you what's so good about this team. And when I say this team, I'm including you guys in that as well. Um, but myself, Ryan, Alan, and Barry Banning's obviously a kind of more of a regular contributor as well. We all bring different, we all bring different things. And when the forays are on together, I think you see the different things that we bring, you know. And and yeah, Joe, I mean that's the beauty of it, mate. You, we definitely. I, I'm I'm probably the least type to think I'm too big for my boots, mate, and to that I know more about people than or I know more information, because like I says, mate, I grew up late 80s, early 90s, so and that was tough, mate, especially being a you know an only child as well. I didn't have siblings, mate. So I lived a life of being eager to learn and not thinking that you're too big for your books, mate. So definitely no, mate. And I don't know how long you've been watching the pod, mate, but if you've been watching long enough, mate, you probably get that for me. That, I don't think I'm too big for my books. I like having a laugh and I like carrying on, and things will come my way and stuff. But as I say, a lot of that's in kidology, mate. Definitely no. Don't think I know more about football or Celtic for that matter. But we'll put you to the test, Joe, and we'll find out, mate, because we're going to do a wee quiz in the next couple of weeks. So I do hope you're present for that. We'll find out how much you know, Joe. So don't you worry. You might have spoken too soon, as they say. Jeffrey Maloney was a top talent. Loved watching him play. Drove his strikers mad, but he was superb. Yes, Maloney was a top talent, mate. A gifted magician. All you've got to do is listen to boys like even Michael Gardine, Simon Ferry, boys that played in beside him. John Kennedy, he's another one. Maloney was top, and again, mate, he was one of those players that I thought he'd just get better with games. I remember when he made his debut at 17. That was it again. It was in a Broomlin Upper at Ibrox. We beat them 3-0 that day. And the boy Fernandez, they actually signed the boy Fernandez on loan. The boy came up for Fulham. Don't know if any of you remember that lad. Rangers played him that day. And when he brought Maloney on, he looked like, I don't want to keep slagging our Willow, but we Willow Flood when he done the photo shoot with the Celtic tap, he just looked miles big for him. He just looked like a wee boy. I know he was a wee boy. I think he was about 17, 18 when he made his debut, but you could tell he was talented. He had tremendous speed and his energy and everything that he put to the game. And then, as I said, I think he's a lot of time with young, yeah, I think a lot of times, especially younger guys, I think it's just time, and that's the beauty with footballers as well. Footballers all develop at a different rate. I think us as Celtic fans, I think we're more snobbish when it comes to it. That's probably a good word to use because we want it now. A big team like Celtic, unfortunately, sometimes you don't get that time. You know, Celtic can't stand idle and maybe the term of carrying passengers. We can't do that. We can't come in and do that. But listen, it is what it is. It's one of those things. I think it's time. But no, Jeff Maloney was a top talent. I'll do one more, guys, and then I'm going to finish up. So I'll do one more. Has anybody got um, any questions for me, or anybody want to ask me something, or anybody at all? Scott Melville? Yeah, you've got to. That's the thing, mate. You've got to do it. It's as I say, everybody's. We all come from different walks of life, and all got maybe different backgrounds and stuff. And like I said earlier, I think it'd be a very, very boring world if we were all the same. And yeah, I think. But you definitely need to be mindful, and respect each other's feelings because we've all got them. Whether some of us want to hide them more than others, but we do all have feelings, and certain things will definitely hit a nerve. And like I says, if you're not as strong-minded as myself, it can really hurt you. It can really hurt you. Whereas it doesn't matter about, especially with me, it doesn't matter what people say. I'm, I'm, you need to be up early in the morning to catch me out with any of that nonsense. But thank you very much, Plunge. Thank you very much. I do my best
I do my best, mate. And again, it's no try to be big headed or anything like that. It's you got to do what you do, mate. And sometimes I think the beauty, like I say, being on this side of it, mate. I think the beauty of it is I've watched Celtic for a long time, and I've watched the transfer model, and I've watched the way Celtic do things. So it's about experience, and sometimes I think even every individual just takes a step back and analyses it properly. You probably see that things aren't what they seem. You know, in terms of surgery with the squad, I'll argue till I'm blue in the face with anyone right now that we do not need major surgery. I even had a chat with Ryan on the phone before I even came on here tonight. I mean, him spoke about Nicholas Kuhn coming in, and if he's the only signing coming in, then it would do more to help Celtic win the league than it probably wouldn't. It's yeah, I don't think, like I says, I don't think it's going to hinder us in any way at all. Just say for talk's sake, if we never signed another player. I don't think that will be the case though. I think we'll at least get one more. And I put my hands up right now. It's not that I know anything. It's just again, it's experience. January's a window that a lot of business doesn't seem to get done. Why? Because a lot of clubs are reluctant to let players go. You look at the top scale clubs, like ourselves, who are challenging for the Scottish Cup, challenging for the league. We're reluctant to let MD go because of that. You're challenging for titles. You're challenging to try and win and be successful and win silverware. And other teams are in that similar sort of mould and similar predicament are the same. They don't want to let go of their talented boys. So it could be a loan deal Celtic bring in. Someone that could maybe help us in the meantime to get us to the end of the season. And then we could maybe look at buying that person permanently. Similar to Bernardo, you know. The good thing is obviously with Bernardo, um, it's a bit like Jota in a sense that it's a kind of try before you buy, then you make your mind up. We've done the same with Edward as well. So I kind of try before you buy and then you do it. Red Scotland. Turning 40 is horrible, mate. Trust me, it only gets worse. The next 5 years will feel like a month. Strap in, pension age fast approaching. You're a bad man, Red. You're a bad man. I was actually looking forward to turning 40, being honest with you. Um, Listen, it's turning 40 is just a number, mate. It's how you feel in here. It's how again, all comes down to how you live your life, mate, what you do on a day to day basis, how positive you are. I'm probably one of the, I'm probably I probably do a lot of people's heads in with how positive I am at times. Even the most negative at times, I try and remain positive. Doesn't matter what's happening in your life. It's I think that yeah, I think that's key. But no, we'll see. I think again, mate. I think it's all about individuality. I think it's I'm not too sure about the pension age approaching fast, mate. But I kind of get the meaning of your comment there. I do. Uh, every good Celtic fan believes they ken their football. Graham Martin, good evening, mate. Yeah, well, definitely in social media, Graham. Um, because whenever something happens with a team or everybody turns into this Guardiola world class manager that would do things differently. I seen a post the other day about, Celtic's recruitment and everything else, and I just thought to myself, I would like to see you guys taking over a transfer window. And let's see in terms of the way you would operate and how you would do it. Because the reason I've says tonight, how successful Celtic's model is, what are you guys going to be able to do every day? They're no. these guys are professionals. They do it every day. But all of a sudden, these guys are. Now, son, it doesn't mean that you just sit in the comments and stick a wee knife in now and again. It's Red 14 dog years. Aye. Says Ryan it goes to 5 a size and takes his dog with him and sticks his Fitbit on the dogs and puts it up on social media. Look, boys, look what I've done there. Look the amount of miles I covered there. Aye. Because you let the dog do it for you. But, aye, thanks. Everybody's all having a go now because I says I'm turning 40. Unbelievable, eh? This is what I'm saying about people in terms of their, the wee comments that people make. Just as well I can handle it. Just as well I'm different. That's not going to affect me. Turning 40 Red's not going to affect me, mate. Trust me. That's when my life begins and all the fun begins, in my opinion. Football's all about opinions. We all have different things in every aspect of football and Celtic. It's all about your opinion. You can debate and argue points, but always be respectful. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, the thing is, Plunge, that's the beauty of it, mate. And, I was told a while ago that, turning 40 and then someone says, one day you're going to be a lonely old man. I says, no, that's never going to be the case. He says, how no? I says, not the amount of voices I've got in my head. That's definitely not. I'm never going to be lonely. Trust me. Never ever going to be lonely. But on that note, it's been a privilege coming on tonight. Plunge, do you think we will bring in a striker, JP? I do. Yeah, I think that'll be the other position that's fulfilled. And I think the left back and the goalkeeping position will get sorted in the summer. Because I do think that, Joe Hart and Greg Taylor are more than capable of doing the job between now. I think people are, there is that, that small scare of what happens to, if Greg Taylor is out, what happens? Listen, the way I see it is you would trust Brendan. You got to trust Brendan to assess that. And who knows? Listen, we could end up with a wee surprise. We never know. You get that 11th hour surprise, and we had it before with guys like Craig Bellamy and Robbie Keane and stuff. And so you never know. Listen, Brendan Rodgers is a big draw. That's a massive draw for us in terms of negotiations and everything else that's going on. Because players will be chomping at a bit. I mean, they've heard Matt O'Reilly speak about him. They've heard guys in my head, I've real Atati speak about him. With emotion, by the way, as well. And, there was a real passion in their voices. You could hear it. Working with the manager, how good a manager he is. Callum McGregor's done it. Bruni's done it. So, all these guys aren't saying this because they just want to bum the guy up. But I think we'll bring in a striker. On that note, guys, I do thank you for all of your comments. I really, really do. Like I says, I'm not having a 40th, mate. I know it's mental because I've had an 18th, a 21st, and a 30th, but I'm not having a 40th. I thought I'd muck with people's seeds a wee bit and do it differently. That's the type of guy I am, I don't know. I like to keep people on their toes. But no, I'm not having a 40th. But I'll tell you what, mate, see if I was, be the first guy I was going to shout to. Don't worry about it. But on that note, folks, and Night JP, thanks for going solo. Hope yourself and Ryan have a great weekend in Sheffield. Thank you very much, Ange. I'm pretty sure we will. The wee man's in his bed. He's probably in his bed now because he needs his 40 winks before we get to Sheffield because it's going to be wild. Barry Boy 40 says, only caught the end of the night. Watch it back in the van. Sees me through the day. Nice one, mate. I do hope you enjoy it, mate. If you manage to watch it back, after 15 minutes, you're probably going to get fed up just listening to me. But that's life, as the old Frankie boy says. It's life. All partied out, JP. That's an age thing. Well, he's only 30. So there's a slight difference there. I'm 40 and I'm still hardcore. So it's aye, as I say, long hours on the road, JP. Right, okie dokie. I'm with you now, mate. So again, folks, anybody looking to get a good Celtic photo or nip over to the Facebook page of This Is Paradise. As I say, the page is run by a good guy in Durham, and yeah, some really good photos, some old retro photos and stuff being put on there of recent. So nip over and see if you can get yourself one if you need a new screensaver for you know, your phone, your iPad, whatever it may be. No, man, I'm hardcore, absolutely hardcore. And again, if you knew me well enough, you would know that yourself. But yeah, again, thank you very much for all your comments. I do apologise if I've not managed to get everybody's up. I do my best to try and interact with the majority of you. And if I don't, I catch you on the next one as well. So that's what's good about this one. You know, sometimes your comments will not come up, and then you'll be one of the first ones in the next one, and your comment will get put up. So yeah, but great comment, Graham. I was just, do you know what, mate? I was actually just about to say that. Remember the transfer window's still open. Remember it's still there, you know, and it's definitely, it's not all over. But again, listen, don't get too bogged down, mate, either, folks, because we do not need major surgery. The squad is fine the way it is, full of winners, full of guys that know how to get us over the line, you know, and yeah, that's the difference. That is the difference. Yes, Ange, we will be back on Monday evening at 8:30. In fact, you might get a wee surprise actually. I knew what you meant, Ange. I knew exactly what you meant. We're actually only in Sheffield until Sunday, so the pod will be back on Monday night. You might get a wee surprise tomorrow because I think Ryan has got something planned for you. But in terms of a proper podcast with all of us on, um, or the majority of us on, we'll be back on Monday evening. And I think Ryan might be doing something tomorrow. I'll need to double check with him, folks. But if he will, and if he's going to, he'll put it up on the socials and he'll put it in the community section of the YouTube channel for you as well. So just double check on that, maybe even tonight or maybe tomorrow morning or whatever, and see if Ryan's updated that because I think he might have something planned for you tomorrow. We were chatting about that earlier. And yeah, hope you all have a lovely weekend, guys. And for any of you going to the Celtic game, wrap up well, and I hope you enjoy the game. I'll be at the Sheffield Wednesday game on Friday evening. They're playing Coventry in the FA Cup. Myself and Ryan will be present at that, and then the carnage begins. But I'll leave it there. As it's a family show, I'm not going to get into any details, so definitely no. But all in all, guys, take care, stay safe, and hail hail.